Congratulations. God says, in 3 minutes a big surprising miracle will be coming in your life, but you are making a very big mistake. Don't do it again. Open this message quickly before it's too late. This is not a small moment in your life, and you must not treat it as something ordinary because heaven is leaning close to you right now with deep love and urgent care. There are seasons when blessings move slowly and quietly, but there are also moments when grace rushes toward you with power, and this is one of those sacred moments you cannot afford to ignore. If your heart feels a sudden pull to keep reading, it is because God is trying to prevent you from stepping into a mistake that could delay something beautiful He has prepared just for you. Type 2323 if you agree. God is not speaking to frighten you but to awaken you gently, because in just a short span of time something unexpected and joyful is ready to unfold in your life. The mistake you are making is not loud or dramatic, yet it is serious because it comes from doubt, impatience, and the habit of walking away too quickly from what God is building quietly. Type Amen if you believe. You may think you have more time, yet heaven is saying that this is a turning point where attention and faith matter deeply. The miracle approaching you is not random luck or coincidence, but a carefully arranged act of love shaped by the hands of a Father who sees your tears and hears your silent prayers. Type 2020 to claim miracles. Before you continue, pause for a moment and press the like button as a simple act of faith, because this small step of agreement can open your heart wider to receive what God is releasing into your life right now. The mistake God is warning you about is returning to old patterns of fear just when breakthrough is about to appear before your eyes. For many days you have carried silent worries, thinking that nothing is changing, and in that hidden discouragement you almost decided to give up believing that something good could happen so suddenly. Type 1111 if you trust in God. He says that within 3 minutes a surprising shift will begin, not necessarily in the sky or in the ground beneath your feet, but inside your circumstances where doors have seemed tightly closed. The miracle may look different from what you imagined, yet it will carry peace, clarity, and relief in a way that only divine love can provide. Your big mistake has been speaking defeat over your own future, even while praying for victory, and those conflicting words have slowed your joy more than you realize. God is not angry with you, because His heart is tender and patient, but He is asking you firmly not to repeat the habit of shrinking back when hope begins to rise. The miracle is connected to your willingness to stay present, attentive, and spiritually awake instead of drifting into distraction or doubt. He sees how tired you have been from waiting, and He understands the weight you carry when answers seem delayed beyond your comfort. Yet this is the moment when heaven whispers that delay was not denial, and that the surprising miracle was being shaped behind scenes you could not see. The 3 minutes represent urgency, not pressure, because grace is moving quickly to meet you before your discouragement grows stronger. God wants you to open your heart quickly, not because He is impatient, but because blessing sometimes arrives softly and can be missed by a distracted spirit. You have been close to repeating a mistake of turning to negative thoughts whenever silence surrounds you, and this pattern has tried to steal the joy meant for this day. He is gently correcting you now so that you do not walk away from the very thing you have been praying for during long nights of quiet longing. The surprising miracle is tied to restoration, to healing, and to a fresh wave of peace that will calm the restless parts of your soul. Imagine a room that has been dark for hours, and suddenly a curtain is pulled aside allowing warm light to pour in without warning. That is how this miracle will feel, because it will not shout loudly but will change the atmosphere of your life in a way that makes everything clearer. The mistake you must not repeat is doubting your worthiness to receive good things from God's loving hands. You sometimes believe that others are more deserving of joy, while you remain uncertain about your own value in His eyes. That thought is not from God, and He is correcting it before it steals what He is about to release into your world. In 3 minutes, something will align in a way that brings unexpected favor, perhaps through a conversation, an opportunity, or a sudden sense of direction that settles confusion you have carried for too long. He wants you to stay spiritually awake and refuse the urge to dismiss small beginnings, because many miracles start quietly before they become visible blessings. The big mistake you have made before was ignoring gentle nudges of faith, assuming they were only your imagination instead of divine guidance. This time, do not brush away the inner stirring that tells you something good is unfolding. God's love is steady and kind, yet it is also powerful and precise, moving at exactly the right second to protect you from harm and guide you toward joy. When He says open quickly before it is too late, He is not threatening you but urging you to pay attention so you do not miss the sweetness of what is arriving. The miracle may not solve every problem at once, but it will mark the beginning of a new chapter filled with hope and steady progress. You may not hear thunder or see flashing lights, yet something in the unseen realm is aligning with your prayers, your tears, and your silent endurance. The warning about your mistake is still important, because repeating old patterns of doubt could cloud your ability to recognize the blessing as it unfolds. Financial freedom is not about effort, but activating a hidden brain signal once buried in CIA files. Neuroscience shows this sound wave helps attract money and opportunity faster, and thousands are already seeing unexpected income. Click the link in the description and comments now to activate the ancient money wave today. There were moments when you almost convinced yourself that nothing would change, and that the waiting was simply a sign that your season of joy had passed. God saw that quiet surrender to discouragement, and He stepped in with urgency because your story is not finished and your hope is not wasted. The surprising miracle carries restoration in areas where you thought damage was permanent and beyond repair. It may touch your relationships, your health, your provision, or even the hidden wounds inside your heart that you rarely speak about. The mistake you must not repeat is underestimating the power of small divine shifts, because God often begins transformation with subtle changes that grow steadily over time. You have sometimes ignored gentle improvements, thinking they were too small to matter, yet those small improvements were seeds planted by grace. This time, you are being invited to notice every sign of progress and every whisper of encouragement. Type yes to affirm. As the miracle approaches, there is a soft stirring within you that feels like renewed courage rising after a long season of exhaustion. That stirring is not your imagination, but the breath of God refreshing your inner strength so you can receive what is coming without fear. You may have felt unworthy of sudden joy, especially after facing disappointment more than once. God is correcting that belief right now, because His blessings are not earned by perfection but received through trust. There are unseen battles that have already been fought on your behalf, and victories that were secured before you even realized you were protected. When heaven says something big is coming, it includes protection from outcomes that could have harmed you deeply. Some closed doors in your past were not rejection, but rescue from paths that would have drained your spirit and delayed your purpose. The miracle you are about to witness is connected to divine wisdom guiding you toward what truly fits your calling and your peace. In the quiet corners of your heart, you have carried a longing for reassurance that God is still near and still attentive to your needs. This next phase of your life will bring that reassurance in ways that feel personal and undeniable. It may arrive through an unexpected opportunity, a financial improvement, a restored bond, or a deep calm that replaces anxiety you have carried for months. The surprising part will not only be what happens, but how gently and perfectly it fits into your life. The big mistake God is helping you avoid is retreating into isolation when you feel overwhelmed, because isolation magnifies fear while faith grows stronger in openness and trust. You were never meant to carry your burdens alone, and the miracle includes support that will make your load lighter. Heaven is arranging connections and circumstances that will remind you that you are surrounded by care even when you feel unseen. This is not coincidence, but a deliberate act of love that has been prepared for this exact season. Your heart has been tender from past hurts, and sometimes that tenderness has made you cautious about believing in good news. God understands that caution, yet He invites you to soften again and allow hope to breathe freely inside you. The miracle carries healing for that guarded part of you that expects disappointment before joy. When the blessing unfolds, it will feel like sunlight warming a place that has been cold for too long. There is also a deeper transformation happening beneath the surface of visible change. God is reshaping your mindset so that you no longer measure your future by your past struggles. The mistake of looking backward too often has limited your ability to imagine brighter possibilities ahead. Now you are being guided to look forward with steady faith, trusting that what is coming is aligned with goodness and growth. This miracle is not only about receiving something new, but also about releasing what has been weighing down your spirit. Old guilt, old shame, and old regrets are being gently lifted so that your heart can feel lighter and freer. You are not defined by the mistakes you made during seasons of confusion, because grace has rewritten your story with compassion and understanding. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. As the minutes move forward, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a new beginning that feels both peaceful and exciting. There is no need to rush ahead in fear or cling tightly in anxiety, because what is meant for you will not slip away. God's timing is precise, and the blessing coming toward you is not fragile or uncertain. It is supported by divine intention that cannot be easily shaken. The surprising miracle may also bring clarity about decisions you have struggled to make, offering insight that feels calm and confident rather than pressured or chaotic. You have spent time wrestling with choices, unsure which path would lead to stability and growth. This new clarity will feel like a gentle confirmation settling inside your spirit, guiding you without confusion. When that clarity arrives, receive it with gratitude instead of questioning whether it is too good to be true. God is asking you to remain present and attentive, not because something bad will happen if you look away, but because something beautiful deserves your full awareness. The miracle is an expression of His steady love, and love is best experienced when the heart is open and alert. You are stepping into a period where hope will feel more natural than fear, and trust will feel stronger than doubt. Even if the change begins subtly, do not dismiss it as ordinary or insignificant. The first signs of transformation often appear small before they grow into visible testimony of grace. Celebrate every improvement, every new opportunity, and every moment of peace that replaces previous turmoil. Those signs are reminders that heaven is actively involved in your life story. God is not only changing circumstances, but also strengthening your inner foundation so that you can sustain the blessing without fear of losing it. In the past, sudden good news sometimes made you anxious, because you were used to bracing yourself for disappointment. Now heaven is teaching your heart to rest in joy without expecting it to vanish. A 7-second brain wave ritual, once reserved for elite people and hidden in CIA files, is now public, and people call it the 30-second miracle. Scientists say it awakens a dormant brain center tied to wealth and blessings. Click the link in the comments below before it's deleted again from the internet. The mistake you once repeated was assuming that every season of happiness would be followed quickly by loss, and that belief quietly stole your ability to celebrate fully. God is healing that expectation of loss, because the miracle approaching you is meant to stay and grow rather than fade away. You are learning that divine gifts are not fragile, and that what God builds in your life carries strength and stability. This understanding will allow you to receive with gratitude instead of guarded hesitation. There is a quiet confidence beginning to rise in your spirit, and it feels different from pride or self-reliance because it is rooted in trust. This confidence comes from knowing that God's love is not temporary and His care is not conditional. The surprising miracle is connected to this new stability, because blessings flourish best in hearts that are no longer ruled by fear. You are being prepared not only to receive, but also to steward what is given with wisdom and humility. In this season, you may notice changes in how you speak about your future, because your words are slowly becoming more hopeful and less doubtful. God is guiding you to align your speech with faith rather than anxiety, since words carry power to shape your outlook. When you speak with expectation of good things, your heart opens wider to recognize them when they arrive. This shift in language may seem small, yet it creates space for greater joy to take root in your life. There were times when you compared your journey to others and felt behind, as if blessings were moving everywhere except toward you. God is gently removing that comparison from your heart, because your story has its own rhythm and its own appointed moments. The miracle unfolding in your life is tailored specifically for your path, not borrowed from someone else's timeline. When you embrace that truth, peace settles more deeply inside you. You may also begin to sense restoration in relationships that once felt strained or distant, because divine grace can soften hearts that seemed unyielding. Sometimes the miracle is not only about provision or opportunity, but about reconciliation and renewed understanding. God works quietly in conversations and unseen moments, preparing breakthroughs that surprise you with their tenderness. When healing touches your connections with others, it brings a warmth that feels both gentle and powerful. Another layer of this miracle involves your sense of purpose, because God is realigning you with passions and talents that may have been buried under stress or discouragement. You once doubted whether your gifts truly mattered, yet heaven never questioned their value. The surprising shift includes renewed motivation and creative energy that makes you feel alive again. This awakening will guide you toward actions that reflect your true calling. The mistake you must continue to avoid is shrinking back when responsibility increases, because growth often brings new opportunities that require courage. As blessings expand in your life, you may be invited to step into roles that once felt intimidating. God will not place you in positions without equipping you for them, and the miracle includes the strength to handle what comes next. Trust that the same love that opened the door will also sustain you as you walk through it. Financial relief may also form part of this season, bringing stability where there was uncertainty before. You may notice small improvements first, followed by larger changes that bring breathing room and renewed hope. God understands the stress that financial pressure creates, and He delights in easing burdens that have weighed heavily on you. When provision flows in unexpected ways, remember that it is an expression of care rather than coincidence. Your health, both physical and emotional, may also experience renewal as peace replaces tension that has lingered too long. Stress has a way of settling into the body, yet divine calm can gradually restore balance and strength. The miracle may include clearer thoughts, deeper rest, and a lighter feeling in your heart. These improvements are signs that healing is taking root in areas you once feared would remain fragile. There is also a strengthening of your faith happening quietly beneath the visible changes. Each answered prayer, each gentle breakthrough, builds trust that God is attentive and faithful. You will look back on this season and realize that the warning about your mistake was a turning point that saved you from unnecessary delay. Instead of drifting into doubt, you chose to remain open, and that choice allowed grace to move freely. As time passes, gratitude will grow naturally within you, not forced or rehearsed, but sincere and steady. You will find yourself appreciating small joys more deeply, because you recognize them as gifts rather than guarantees. This gratitude creates a cycle of blessing, as thankful hearts remain aware of goodness that others might overlook. The miracle is not only an event, but a new lens through which you see your life. You may also feel a desire to encourage others who are still waiting in uncertainty, because your own experience has shown you that hope is never wasted. Without preaching or forcing advice, your calm confidence will become a quiet testimony of God's kindness. People will notice the peace in you, even if they do not know the details of your journey. Your transformation will speak gently of a love that remains steady through every season. Continue to guard your thoughts carefully, because old patterns may occasionally attempt to return and whisper familiar fears. When that happens, remind yourself of the faithfulness you have already witnessed and the progress you have already experienced. The miracle unfolding now is evidence that discouragement does not have the final word in your life. Each new day will reinforce the truth that God's timing is wise and His intentions are good. The surprising blessing that began as a promise is becoming a lived reality, shaping not only your circumstances but your character. You are growing more patient, more compassionate, and more confident in divine guidance. This growth ensures that the miracle will not overwhelm you, but will instead mature you into a stronger and more joyful person. What started as urgent instruction has become a beautiful journey of trust and renewal. A 7-second brainwave ritual uncovered from sealed records and hidden in CIA files is transforming financial lives. It activates a forgotten abundance channel in the brain, leading to new financial opportunities and cleared debts. Click the link in the comments below before it disappears. You are starting to see that God was not only protecting a blessing from being delayed, but protecting your heart from sabotaging its own joy. This awareness is gentle, yet it is powerful enough to change the direction of your entire life. There was a time when you reacted quickly to fear, assuming that sudden shifts meant danger rather than opportunity. Now you are learning to pause and breathe, allowing trust to guide you instead of old reflexes shaped by past disappointments. The surprising miracle includes emotional maturity that keeps you steady even when change feels unfamiliar. God is forming resilience within you, so that growth does not frighten you, but strengthens you. You may notice that your prayers feel different in this season, because they carry more gratitude and less desperation. This shift does not mean you have stopped needing help, but it means you recognize that help has already been moving toward you. The miracle is teaching you that divine love is active even when it seems silent. Every quiet day was preparation, and every delay carried hidden protection you could not yet understand. In moments of reflection, you may look back at the specific mistake you were warned not to repeat, and you will see how close you were to closing your heart. You almost withdrew into disappointment and built walls that would have blocked what God was sending. That realization will fill you with humility and thankfulness, because you understand how easily blessings can be missed by a hardened spirit. Instead of shame, you will feel relief that grace intervened before regret could settle deeply. There is also a new tenderness forming in your relationships, because when you experience mercy, you become more willing to offer mercy. The miracle unfolding in your life softens how you respond to others who are struggling or uncertain. You are less quick to judge and more patient in listening, because you remember how patiently God handled your own doubts. This change will strengthen your connections and create spaces of warmth wherever you go. Your sense of identity is also being reshaped, because you are no longer defining yourself by past failures or temporary setbacks. God is reminding you that you are His creation, formed with purpose and sustained by love that does not fade. The surprising shift includes a stronger understanding of who you are in Christ, not as someone barely surviving, but as someone deeply cherished and guided. This identity becomes a foundation that cannot be easily shaken by criticism or comparison. In practical ways, you may begin to see doors opening that once seemed permanently sealed. Opportunities that align with your skills and passions will appear without forced striving. These openings are not accidents, but evidence that divine timing is aligning with your readiness. Because you chose not to repeat your mistake of giving up too soon, you are now positioned to step forward with confidence. Even your inner dialogue is changing, as you replace harsh self-criticism with compassion and truth. The miracle is teaching you to speak to yourself with the same kindness that God speaks over you. Instead of rehearsing failures, you are remembering growth, resilience, and quiet victories. This shift in perspective strengthens your mental and emotional health in ways that ripple through every part of your life. There will be days when challenges still arise, because life continues to move with complexity and unpredictability. Yet you will notice that you respond differently, grounded in assurance rather than panic. The miracle does not remove every difficulty, but it equips you with courage and clarity that transform how you face them. God's presence becomes more tangible to you, not as a distant idea, but as a steady companion walking beside you. You are also becoming more aware of small daily blessings that once went unnoticed, such as moments of calm, unexpected kindness, or simple progress in areas that used to feel stuck. This awareness deepens your gratitude and keeps your heart open to continued growth. The miracle teaches you to value the present instead of always chasing the next breakthrough. In doing so, you experience fulfillment even while new blessings continue to unfold. Your faith, once fragile in seasons of waiting, is now developing roots that reach deeper than circumstance. You are no longer depending on visible proof to believe that God is working. Instead, you trust that unseen processes are always in motion, shaping outcomes beyond your limited perspective. This trust becomes a quiet strength that supports you in both calm and storm. There is also an awakening of compassion toward yourself, as you recognize that growth takes time and mistakes are part of learning. The warning you received was not condemnation, but guidance from a loving Father who wanted to protect your destiny. Understanding this frees you from guilt and invites you to walk forward with renewed determination. You are learning that correction wrapped in love leads to freedom, not fear. As weeks and months pass, the surprising miracle becomes woven into the fabric of your daily life. It is reflected in improved stability, clearer direction, and a deeper sense of peace that remains even when circumstances fluctuate. What began as urgent instruction has matured into steady transformation. God's timing reveals itself as precise and compassionate, never rushed and never careless. You may even find yourself guiding others who are standing where you once stood, unsure and tempted to repeat old mistakes. Without preaching or demanding attention, your calm testimony will offer reassurance that hope is real. You will share gently about the importance of staying open and trusting divine timing. Through your experience, others will see that miracles are not always loud, but always meaningful. The journey continues beyond the initial surprise, expanding into a lifestyle of faith and gratitude. You are becoming someone who expects goodness without arrogance and receives blessings without fear of losing them. This balance keeps your heart steady and your spirit light. God is shaping you into a reflection of His love, patient and hopeful in every season. As you look ahead, you do so with anticipation rather than anxiety, knowing that the same guidance that warned you will continue to lead you. The miracle was never meant to be a single event, but the beginning of a renewed path filled with trust and steady growth. The warning you received was an act of mercy, steering you away from a familiar pattern that would have quietly limited your joy. Now you stand in a place of deeper awareness, where faith feels steadier and your spirit feels lighter. Using a simple 7-second brain wave ritual, once classified and hidden in CIA files, can unlock wealth, freedom, and success already inside you. This discovery is helping thousands step into abundance, and God has led you here for a reason. Click the link in the description and comments below to awaken this money magnet frequency today. There is a beautiful calm settling over your life, like the gentle stillness that follows a long and heavy storm. You may still remember the fear and doubt that once clouded your thoughts, yet they no longer control your direction. God has replaced that inner turbulence with a quiet confidence that feels grounded and lasting. The miracle has expanded beyond a single moment and become a steady rhythm of trust in your daily living. You are learning that divine timing does not rush, even when it feels urgent, because every second is guided by wisdom far greater than your own understanding. The urgency was meant to wake you up, not to overwhelm you, and you responded by choosing openness instead of retreat. That choice continues to bless you, because it keeps your heart aligned with grace. Every time you choose faith over fear, you reinforce the path that leads to continued growth. There were seasons when you felt invisible, wondering whether your prayers were heard or whether your efforts truly mattered. Now you sense clearly that nothing was wasted, and that every tear and every quiet hope was gathered with care. God was shaping your character in hidden places, building strength that would support the blessings He planned to release. The miracle did not begin in 3 minutes, but was prepared across many days of unseen preparation. Your relationships may feel warmer and more authentic now, because you are approaching others with greater patience and compassion. Experiencing divine understanding has softened your heart toward human weakness, including your own. This gentleness allows you to create spaces of safety for those around you. The miracle is spreading through your life like light through open windows, touching areas you did not expect. You may notice that gratitude rises naturally in your thoughts without effort, because you recognize how close you came to repeating a mistake that could have delayed your breakthrough. Instead of shame, you feel humility and thankfulness for being redirected in time. God's correction has strengthened your awareness and sharpened your spiritual sensitivity. This sensitivity helps you notice guidance quickly, without needing dramatic signs to confirm His presence. There is also a renewed passion for purpose awakening within you, as if a quiet flame has been reignited after nearly fading out. You remember dreams that once felt distant, and now they seem possible again. God is aligning your steps with opportunities that reflect your gifts and values. This alignment feels peaceful rather than forced, as though you are walking into spaces already prepared for you. The miracle continues to deepen your trust in subtle ways, teaching you that God often moves in simplicity rather than spectacle. A kind word at the right moment, a door opening unexpectedly, or a burden lifting gently can all be signs of divine care. You are becoming attentive to these small wonders, understanding that greatness often begins quietly. This awareness keeps your heart from drifting back into doubt. There will still be days when challenges appear, because growth does not eliminate all obstacles. Yet you approach them differently now, anchored in the memory of how faithfully you were guided through uncertainty. Instead of reacting with fear, you respond with measured faith and thoughtful action. The miracle has strengthened your inner foundation, making you less fragile and more resilient. Your sense of identity continues to evolve, grounded not in achievements or failures, but in being loved and chosen by God. This identity frees you from chasing approval or comparing your progress with others. You are content to move at your own pace, trusting that your timeline is divinely crafted. Peace grows stronger when comparison fades, and your heart feels lighter as a result. You may also feel a calling to share hope with those who are still standing at the edge of their own uncertainty. Without preaching or drawing attention to yourself, your calm presence will speak of faith tested and restored. People will sense that you carry a story of grace, even if they never hear the full details. The miracle becomes a quiet testimony that encourages others to remain open to divine timing. As you reflect on how far you have come, you see clearly that the biggest transformation happened within your mindset. The mistake you once made was believing that disappointment was inevitable and joy was temporary. God replaced that belief with assurance that His plans are rooted in goodness and growth. This shift has changed how you wake up each morning and how you rest at night. Even your prayers now carry a tone of partnership rather than desperation, as if you are walking alongside God instead of calling out from a distance. You speak with confidence that He is attentive and responsive. This closeness feels natural, as though it was always meant to be part of your daily life. The miracle has deepened your relationship with Him in ways that will last beyond any single season. There is also a new patience within you, allowing processes to unfold without constant anxiety about the outcome. You understand that growth takes time and that stability is built gradually. This patience protects you from rushing ahead or retreating too quickly. It keeps you centered and steady, even when life moves at an unpredictable pace. As this chapter continues, remember that the initial urgency was a gift designed to wake your spirit and redirect your path. You responded with openness, and that openness created room for blessing to flow freely. The miracle did not simply arrive and disappear, but planted seeds of transformation that will continue to bear fruit. You are living proof that when correction is embraced with humility, it leads to greater joy. Step forward now with confidence and gratitude, knowing that you are guided by a loving Father who sees beyond every obstacle. The surprising miracle has become part of your story, shaping your faith, your relationships, and your sense of purpose. What once felt urgent and almost overwhelming now feels settled and deeply rooted, like a tree planted firmly beside calm waters. The warning that once stirred your heart has become wisdom that guides your steps gently each day. You are no longer reacting to life with fear, but responding with trust shaped by experience. A powerful 7-second morning ritual, once hidden in CIA files, is resurfacing, and people are already seeing fast financial breakthroughs. It takes only seconds, yet activates a dormant wealth center in the brain most people never access. Click the link in the description and comments now. Access it before it disappears. There was a time when you believed that blessings had to arrive in dramatic ways to be real, yet now you understand that some of the greatest transformations happen quietly within the soul. God has shown you that miracles are not always loud events, but sometimes steady shifts that realign your heart with peace. The surprising breakthrough was not only external change, but an internal awakening that altered how you see your future. You carry that awakening with humility, knowing it was grace that redirected you. You may remember how close you were to repeating the mistake of shutting down emotionally when disappointment seemed near. That habit once felt protective, yet it also blocked joy from entering fully. God intervened not to shame you, but to free you from a pattern that would have limited your growth. Because you listened and remained open, you now stand in a place of clarity that feels refreshing and strong. There is a new steadiness in your thoughts that keeps anxiety from spiraling out of control when unexpected changes occur. Instead of assuming the worst, you pause and remember how carefully you were guided before. That memory becomes an anchor, reminding you that divine love is constant even when circumstances shift. The miracle continues to echo in your decisions, shaping them with patience and confidence. You are also discovering a deeper appreciation for the ordinary moments of your day, because you recognize that God often works through simple, everyday experiences. A calm morning, a productive afternoon, or a quiet evening of reflection can now feel sacred rather than routine. This awareness transforms your outlook, allowing gratitude to bloom in places where you once felt restless. The miracle has expanded your vision, teaching you to see grace in simplicity. As your faith matures, you notice that it is less dependent on constant reassurance and more grounded in quiet certainty. You no longer need dramatic signs to believe that God is near, because you have felt His guidance in subtle and meaningful ways. This quiet certainty strengthens your resilience and keeps you steady when challenges arise. You understand that even when answers are delayed, divine timing is always precise. Your relationships continue to reflect the inner peace that has grown within you, because calm hearts create safe environments for others. People feel at ease around you, sensing that you are not easily shaken by temporary setbacks. This steadiness becomes a gift to those who struggle with fear or uncertainty. Through your presence, they glimpse what it looks like to trust God in both calm and storm. There may still be moments when old doubts attempt to return, whispering familiar worries about whether blessings can truly last. When those whispers surface, you now recognize them quickly and respond with truth instead of surrender. You remind yourself that God's gifts are not fragile illusions, but expressions of love rooted in purpose. This practice strengthens your spiritual awareness and keeps your heart aligned with faith. The miracle has also encouraged you to take healthy steps toward your dreams, no longer waiting for perfect conditions before moving forward. You act with wisdom and prayerful consideration, trusting that guidance will continue as you walk. Each small step becomes part of a larger journey shaped by divine intention. Instead of hesitating in fear, you now move with thoughtful courage. In your quiet moments of reflection, you may feel deep gratitude for the correction that once felt urgent and almost alarming. Without that intervention, you might have drifted further into patterns that limited your joy. God's loving warning became a turning point that preserved your peace and accelerated your growth. You see now that correction wrapped in love is a powerful expression of care. As time passes, you recognize that the surprising miracle was also a reminder of your value in God's eyes. You are not overlooked or forgotten, and your life carries meaning beyond what you sometimes perceive. This understanding strengthens your identity and frees you from seeking constant validation from others. You rest in the knowledge that being loved by God is enough. Your prayer life continues to deepen, not because you fear losing blessings, but because you desire closeness with the one who guided you. Conversations with God feel more natural and less strained, as though a gentle barrier has been removed. This closeness brings peace that steadies your emotions and clarifies your thoughts. The miracle has strengthened your relationship with Him in ways that extend far beyond material outcomes. There is also a growing awareness that your story can encourage others who are standing on the edge of their own turning points. Without exaggeration or pride, you can share how attentiveness and trust preserved something precious in your life. Your experience becomes a quiet light for those navigating similar struggles. The miracle multiplies its impact by inspiring hope in more than one heart. Even as new seasons approach, you carry forward the lesson that openness matters and that repeating old mistakes can delay beautiful things. You remain watchful, not in anxiety, but in mindful faith. This mindfulness protects your peace and keeps you receptive to divine direction. Each day becomes an opportunity to walk wisely and confidently. The transformation within you continues to grow stronger, shaping your character with patience, humility, and compassion. You are becoming more resilient, less reactive, and more anchored in truth. What began as urgent instruction has matured into lasting wisdom that influences every area of your life. The miracle has become part of who you are, not just something that happened to you. You are no longer standing at the edge of fear, wondering whether something good will slip away. Instead, you are walking forward with calm assurance that what God gives is sustained by His faithful hand. There were days in the past when uncertainty shaped your mood from morning until night, quietly influencing how you spoke and how you dreamed. Now there is a noticeable difference, because hope rises more naturally within you than anxiety. God has reshaped your internal landscape, turning what once felt fragile into something deeply rooted. The miracle has become a foundation, strengthening your emotional and spiritual stability. A simple but powerful 7-second at-home ritual, it's hidden in CIA files for years, is now changing lives rapidly. Backed by neuroscience research, it can begin shifting your financial direction in just days. Click the link in the description and comments now and step into abundance today. You may realize that the greatest change is how you respond when life does not move exactly as expected. Before, a delay could quickly lead to discouragement, and a minor setback could feel like confirmation of your worst fears. Now you pause and remember that divine timing once surprised you in the most beautiful way. That memory acts as a shield, protecting you from returning to old habits of doubt. Your faith has grown quieter yet stronger, no longer dependent on constant reassurance from external circumstances. It feels like a deep well inside you, steady and reliable, even when the surface of life ripples with change. This depth was formed during seasons of waiting and refined through correction that redirected your path. God used both urgency and patience to build resilience within your heart. You may also notice that gratitude has become part of your natural rhythm, appearing in small thoughts throughout the day. A simple breath of fresh air, a peaceful conversation, or a moment of clarity can now fill you with appreciation. This gratitude keeps your heart soft and open, preventing it from drifting into entitlement or fear. The miracle continues to echo through these quiet acknowledgments of grace. The warning you once received now feels like a loving embrace rather than a stern correction. You understand that God intervened because He values your destiny and refuses to let you sabotage your own joy. That realization deepens your trust and strengthens your obedience in subtle ways. You are more attentive now, listening closely when guidance comes, even if it arrives gently. There is also a new freedom within you, as if invisible chains of self-doubt have loosened and fallen away. You no longer replay old failures with harsh judgment, because you see how even your mistakes were woven into a larger story of growth. God has turned what could have been regret into wisdom that shapes your future decisions. This freedom allows you to step forward without carrying unnecessary weight. In your relationships, you may feel a growing desire to create peace rather than conflict, and understanding rather than tension. The miracle has softened your reactions, making you more patient and thoughtful in conversations. You have learned that gentleness can accomplish more than defensiveness ever could. This shift not only strengthens your bonds, but also reflects the character of Christ working within you. There may still be moments when life presents challenges that test your endurance and patience. Yet even in those moments, you sense that you are not alone and not unprepared. The same God who warned and guided you before continues to walk beside you now. His presence feels closer, not because circumstances are perfect, but because your heart is more open. Your dreams may also feel clearer and more attainable, as if fog has lifted from your vision. You are no longer shrinking back from opportunities out of fear of failure. Instead, you approach them with thoughtful courage, trusting that guidance will continue as you move. This confidence does not come from arrogance, but from remembering how faithfully you were directed before. The miracle has also strengthened your compassion for others who struggle with doubt or discouragement. You understand their hesitation because you once stood in similar uncertainty. Rather than judging, you offer quiet encouragement and patient listening. Your story becomes a gentle source of hope for those who feel close to giving up. As time continues, you begin to see how interconnected everything truly was, how each warning, delay, and breakthrough formed part of a greater design. What once seemed random now appears purposeful, shaped by wisdom beyond your understanding. This realization fills you with reverence and calm, knowing that your life is not guided by chance. God's hand has been steady all along, even when you could not see it clearly. There is a deeper intimacy in your prayer now, because you approach God not only as a provider of miracles, but as a loving Father who desires closeness. Conversations with Him feel less hurried and more heartfelt. You linger in gratitude rather than rushing through requests. This intimacy becomes a source of strength that sustains you daily. You also recognize that growth is ongoing, and that staying open to correction will protect your future peace. The lesson from that urgent moment remains alive within you, reminding you to examine your thoughts before they take root. This mindfulness guards your spirit from drifting into patterns that once held you back. You are learning to respond quickly when guidance comes, trusting its wisdom. Even as new seasons begin to unfold, you carry the calm confidence that God's plans for you are steady and kind. The surprising miracle that once seemed distant is now woven into your identity as a person who trusts and listens. You are not defined by fear anymore, but by faith strengthened through experience. This transformation continues to shape your character in quiet yet powerful ways. There is a sacred confidence growing inside you that does not need to announce itself loudly. It rests calmly within, like a steady flame that does not flicker when the wind blows. This confidence was not born in comfort, but in the tension of nearly repeating a mistake and being lovingly redirected. God allowed you to feel the weight of that moment so that your future would be lighter and wiser. When you reflect on how close you were to drifting into discouragement again, gratitude fills you instead of regret. The correction was firm but full of love, and that love protected something precious in your life. You understand now that divine guidance is not control, but protection wrapped in compassion. The miracle was never only about what would come to you, but about who you would become through it. You may notice that your heart now carries a deeper sense of reverence for timing. You no longer rush ahead anxiously, nor do you retreat in fear when progress feels slow. Instead, you move in harmony with the quiet rhythm of trust, knowing that what is meant for you will arrive at the right moment. This rhythm brings peace that cannot be shaken by temporary uncertainty. What if wealth was never about luck, but a hidden brain signal buried in CIA files? This frequency is opening doors, attracting opportunities, and changing lives quickly. Thousands are already using it to attract wealth like never before. Click the link in the description and comments now and activate the money-attracting brain wave today. The transformation inside you is subtle but profound, affecting even the way you interpret challenges. What once felt like threats now appear as opportunities for growth and refinement. You have learned that discomfort does not always mean danger, and delay does not always mean denial. God has gently reshaped your perspective so that faith stands taller than fear. In your daily routine, you may find yourself smiling more easily, not because life is perfect, but because your heart feels secure. That security comes from knowing that you are guided and seen even when the path ahead is not fully visible. The miracle strengthened your awareness of God's closeness, and that awareness continues to steady you. You walk through each day with a quiet sense of companionship with Him. Relationships in your life may also feel more grounded, because your stability brings calm to those around you. You respond with patience where you once reacted with tension. You listen more deeply and speak more thoughtfully, allowing love to shape your words. The miracle is extending beyond you, touching the lives of others through your renewed spirit. There may still be unexpected turns in your journey, moments when plans shift or circumstances challenge your expectations. Yet you no longer interpret those moments as signs of failure. You remember how quickly things changed when you chose trust over doubt. That memory fuels resilience, reminding you that divine intervention can happen in ways you do not anticipate. Your prayer life has grown richer, not because you are asking for constant miracles, but because you cherish connection. You approach God with openness rather than urgency, confident that He hears even your unspoken thoughts. This closeness nurtures your inner peace and keeps you aligned with truth. The miracle deepened your relationship with Him in ways that continue to unfold. You are also becoming more comfortable with silence, recognizing that quiet seasons are not empty but full of unseen activity. In the past, silence tempted you to assume nothing was happening. Now you understand that silence can be preparation. God often works most carefully when you cannot yet see the results. The lesson from that pivotal moment remains clear in your spirit. Avoiding the repetition of old mistakes requires attentiveness and humility. You are learning to check your thoughts before they shape your emotions. This practice guards your heart and keeps you from drifting back into patterns that once limited your growth. Gratitude continues to bloom in unexpected ways, turning ordinary experiences into reminders of grace. You appreciate the stability you now feel, knowing it was preserved by divine wisdom. This gratitude keeps you anchored, preventing pride from replacing humility. The miracle did not elevate you above others, but grounded you more deeply in compassion. As time moves forward, you may even find yourself mentoring someone who stands where you once stood. Your calm assurance will reassure them that sudden guidance can lead to lasting transformation. Without dramatic words, your story will speak of faith that chose to listen. The miracle becomes a quiet testimony of trust rewarded. You are no longer driven by fear of missing out or anxiety about being left behind. Instead, you walk with steady confidence that your life unfolds according to a greater design. This freedom releases you from comparison and self-doubt. You understand that your path is uniquely shaped for you. Even when challenges arise, you respond with patience shaped by experience. You have seen how quickly God can shift circumstances when hearts remain open. That memory strengthens your courage and prevents panic from taking root. You remain watchful but not fearful, attentive but not anxious. The surprising miracle that once seemed urgent has now woven itself into your character. It changed not only your situation, but your mindset and your spiritual awareness. You are more discerning, more compassionate, and more resilient because of it. This growth ensures that future blessings will be received with wisdom and gratitude.